¿Qué es lo que mi gente del momento? Estamos aquí en Bahamas, en Chori, y vamos a tener un podcast en inglés con una persona especial, un invitado de Alameda Research. Ya mi compañero Rey va a dar un poco más detalles sobre quién ella es y va a estar haciendo en inglés. Vamos a tratar de ponerle los subtítulos, pero lo idóneo es que ustedes tengan la oportunidad de seguir la conversación en inglés, independiente de los subtítulos, para que ustedes tengan más entendimiento de cómo va el flujo de la conversación. Entonces, sin más, vamos a pasar al idioma inglés y entonces le voy a dar el micrófono a Rey para que le haga una introducción.
Hey. So here we're gonna talk with Caroline from Alameda. She's one of the pillars from Alameda, right? And she has been in crypto for a few years now. And obviously, Alameda success has translated in a lot of success for other companies like FTX. So let's get and dive into it. You want to say a few words?
Hi. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. Right. So we want to know, how did you get into crypto? How did you learn, about this whole market, this crazy market that, it's too volatile for most people. So we know that you were at Jane Street before. So if you want to talk us a little bit more about that, that would be great.
So after college, I worked at Jane Street for about a year and a half trading equities. And it was pretty different from crypto, a much more efficient market, much more automated trading systems, kind of, tweaking details of bots that are, doing millions of trades on all these equity exchanges. After I'd been working there for a bit, I talked to Sam, who had just started Alameda, and he convinced me that it was an exciting opportunity. So I decided to take a chance on it.
Right. Yeah. I guess what kind of programming language do you guys use over there? I mean, do you program, or you just tweak stuff, like, I guess, in predefined tables or something like that?
So we have devs who are mostly programming in Python, and then for traders we do sort of a combination of Python, Excel, and then also just tweaking things in tables.
I see. Okay, so do you think that you have been able to pull this thing off without your mathematics degree, or it has been the pillar of your trading activity?
Absolutely could pull it off without my math degree. Use very little math. Use a lot of elementary school math, like arithmetic, probability, but not really any of the advanced stuff I learned in college.
Right. So I see those abstract math classes are not required. Okay, that's good. So, what kind of trading do you guys do? Like, a lot of people in our communities, in the Spanish communities, they are like, oh, this technical analysis, this is the holy grail of trading. And, right, Elliott waves and some, random bullshit. Exactly, patterns, a bunch of random stuff that I personally believe that they don't work, but we would like to hear from you. Like, what's your opinion on this, and what do you guys do in that kind of thing?
We don't really do any technical analysis, except as it, relates to thinking about how other participants in the market may be doing technical analysis and how that will affect their behavior. Mostly we think of ourselves as a liquidity provider. So we just, whatever people want to trade, we want to be there to help them trade and get better prices. So that can mean trading on exchanges, putting out, scales, doing, arbitrages between exchanges. Could also mean trading OTC. We have an OTC desk where you can, send us a message in chat and do a larger trade that you might not want to execute on an exchange. We also do market making for, token projects, ensuring that they have sufficient liquidity for their coin, and also providing on a bunch of kind of dexes and DeFi lending protocols.
So these I see. So I guess when you guys are doing market making, usually you only market make on markets that you can hedge your risk, like put out positions on derivatives to protect your downside, or do you also guys do other kind of markets not related to particular token projects that reach out? And there is you don't do any kind of discretionary trading where you take a decision and have a particular long exposure or short exposure to I don't know, a basket of assets.
Yeah, we do some discretionary trading as well, and we do trading where we can't always hedge our exposure. I think we kind of tend to hedge our exposure by default unless we have a particular opinion on the coin. If we just buy some whatever Bitcoin in our scales somewhere, we'll probably try to sell that out somewhere else by default. But if we have opinions based on events in the market or based on kind of trading patterns or flow that we've been seeing, we definitely might put on discretionary positions as well.
Perfect, thank you. And what do you believe that defines you as a good trader, as at the top of the chain, let's say?
I think I guess there are a few things a good trader needs. I think being good at sort of not necessarily advanced math, but mathematical thinking, kind of thinking about things in terms of probability, expected value is very important. I think being comfortable with risk is very important. And being kind of fairly, quick to react and good at making judgments in very uncertain environments, I think. There are a lot of people who are very smart but aren't good at necessarily the very messy world of trading, especially crypto trading. You never have all the information, so you kind of just have to make your best guess based on what you can see.
I see, perfect. And in terms of your emotions, have you ever lost a lot of money because of it? How do you handle it? How do you handle stress? And what has been your worst trade? The worst situation that you have ever had, that you lost a ton of money, if it happened, right? Yeah.
I guess. In terms of emotions, it's definitely something that I've had to work on and that I think I've gotten better at as I've been trading. It's kind of very, when you start out as an intern and you do something and accidentally lose, maybe $1,000 for your desk, you're like, oh God, everyone's gonna hate me now, this is terrible. And over time you have to sort of get comfortable with larger and larger swings of money. I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
Generalize, some sort of an example of kind of what happened without necessarily saying it was this position specifically, right?
I think there have definitely been examples where, say, we, lost some money because we decided to put on some large discretionary position and, we thought it was a good bet, but it went the wrong way. And that's kind of a thing that can happen a lot. And you have to say maybe you reevaluate and say oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea after all. Or maybe you're well, it was probably good in EV, but it didn't work out. And that's the EV is more important than the realized P&L there.
Yeah, but based on that conversation, I do have a couple of specific questions. Do you have in a specific percentage you say, okay, this is my top risk management, I'm willing to lose, or that is very dynamic and changes depending on the position that you guys get the exposure to?
I think we tend not to have things like stop losses. I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool because they often sort of lead to you being closed out of your position in relatively low liquidity situations and losing to that. Kind of exacerbating, momentum from liquidations and things like that. We definitely have sort of risk limits though, where, for any given position we're going to put on, we'll think about, what's the size of our overall book, what's the size of this, the market cap of this coin, what's kind of like the max risk we want to take on this position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then on that same line, and this is a very discussed topic, like it happens a lot. It's not just about the stop loss or any sort of like risk management, but then there's the other side of the coin where you need to decide where not to be that greedy. And a lot of people tend to have like a half issues on, okay, how do I get out of this position? When is actually enough? Do you guys have any sort of parameters or percentages that you say, okay, we have the profit what we're looking at, we're going to get out and take profit? Or that is also a very dynamic thing and it happens, it depends on what the position is going through?
Yeah, I think it is very dynamic, and I think we try not to get too anchored to, oh, we put on this position at $10, now it's $9. Oh, well, I don't want to, close out at a loss. Or, conversely, like, oh, it's up to, $12, it's time to close out, or something like that. I think we tend to think about it more in terms of like, well, let's just kind of, keep reevaluating the position. Let's say like it's $9. Do I still want to be long? Do I want to be longer? Do I want to be shorter? Like what new information have I gotten? What's changed? Things like that.
Good. Yeah, I think probably one of the mistakes, and you kind of learn about this over time, is that people tend to fix things. Like, I just want a 10%. But whether or not that 10% you got to get out, it depends on how you say it about the data you get. Maybe you find new probabilities, new data that says this is not a 10%, this is a 25%, so we should keep going. But I think people a lot overall, and this is one of the messages we want to get to our community, they're just fixated with percentages. Let's just get 10% or 5%, I'm out. And then the position runs. This is a very personal question, I guess. If we go back in time, will you be willing to repeat and be the trader you are right now, having the career path you have had, or you will make any sort of changes?
Oh, yeah, I definitely keep the same thing. I mean, I think I've partly just gotten fairly lucky. I don't think if I went back and chose a different random path, it would have worked out this well, so.
Nice. So, Ray, do you have any other questions or anything as specific you would like to point out?
Yeah, so, you mentioned EV, and a lot of our subscribers do not understand this concept of thinking on positive EV. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so EV stands for expected value, and it just means kind of like on average, what do you expect the value of this will end up being. So the way you calculate that is you kind of look at the different scenarios that might happen, like the probability of each of those scenarios, and then add take the weighted average of that. Maybe it's like there's a 50% chance this is going to go up 20%, and a 50% chance it goes down 10%. So that works out to the EV being positive, even though there's a large chance that it will end up going down.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you for being here with us, and hopefully one day we'll have another one of these. Yeah,
absolutely. We're trying to make sure that we're having people, not just that we talk about or that they think we know, but actually people with results, and that way they can actually see what you guys see. I think there's a lot of discussions about meaningless stuff, and just because it's in YouTube or in other platforms, people think that's just a reality. We're trying to make sure we demystify that. So, oh yeah, absolutely. So let me just put this a little bit more romantic for our subscribers. Let's say I am at a very average point of my life. Either I'm out of college, I don't know what to do, the regular stuff, or I'm just at a crappy job and I love crypto. I want to be a trader. What do you suggest to this type of person to really focus on to get the skills, what that person will need to get to the level of hey, I want to work at Alameda, that's my dream job as a trader? What sort of stuff that person should do, which books or videos or just following people you think it will be a good suggestion for that person to reach that level?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's really hard, and I think there aren't very many good resources out there on trading, because anyone who is a good trader, probably wants to make money for themselves instead of going out on YouTube or whatever to explain trading to other people. Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way to get a job at Alameda is to get a job at another top trading firm, and then apply as a lateral hire, and then yeah, I mean, the other category of knowledge I'd say is like learning about crypto, understanding the ecosystems, what projects are going on, follow a bunch of people on Twitter. I think like kind of, people and, not necessarily so much the technical analysis and the waves and whatever, but I think like people with a kind of good understanding of the fundamentals of crypto are often can have good insights into the market that can be helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think probably for a group of people out there, this is gonna sound like a weird advice, but again, we're trying to make sure they understand the actual side of crypto from the fundamentals, the ecosystem perspective. We have a couple communities in Telegram where they just ramble a lot about technical analysis or just like drawing lines in TradingView, and they're like, this is going to happen, I called it, when actually at the high level there are other kind of stuff happening, and that is why we're trying to make sure that they understand that, not just from us telling the thing, but again, very important people in the space getting that understanding. So I appreciate a lot again your time. Suscríbanse al canal, switch to Spanish. Estén activos, estamos buscando más gente que vengan al podcast del momento. Estamos trayendo gente con resultados. Ustedes pueden buscar ahí Caroline Alameda Research. Si ustedes tienen dudas de que creen que estamos aquí inventando, ahí está la foto de ella para que ustedes vean que es real. Este es su Twitter. Ustedes pueden ver más o menos en las noticias que se ven ahí online los results. Estamos hablando de ya millones de dólares, que son millones de pesos. Así que sigan los consejos realmente de personas que tienen resultados, que en YouTube hay mucha gente que lo que están inventando. Así que ya ustedes saben, nos vemos la próxima.